Hey everyone, or no one. I'm gonna wait a second, see if the notification goes out. Do I have a funny story for you guys? I would love to laugh about it, but right now I'm in too much fucking pain. But God, if it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck. I know it's kind of late. Well, it is very late for Eastern time zone. Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna give it a second and see if anybody joins or not. I don't mind talking to myself. I do it all the time. Usually I play a song or something, but you know what? I don't care. Hopefully the notification goes out. YouTube likes to play, stupid games while I win stupid prizes. So I tell people the odd time, if you are sub to my channel, to make sure that your notifications are on, because I don't know about you guys, but they like to go in and change settings on me without me knowing. So if I haven't heard or seen anybody in my news feed that I follow, I go and check the notifications, and sometimes, miraculously, they change themselves. So, oh, I'm in so much pain, you guys. I just got home from the hospital. Fuck. And I hate the hospital, so if I'm going there, it's serious. um, so I was outside with my pony/dog earlier, and he's a beast. I've shown you guys pictures of him before, lives or whatever, on lives. But I don't really think it does it justice. um, if I had to guess, I can't lift him. Um, so if I had to guess, I'd say he's probably like minimum 150 pounds. Like, I mean, he could ragdoll me if he wanted. So I was taking him out earlier, and I don't know what his problem was. I don't know if there was something out there. I don't know if there was an animal out there, but he was just being a dink, and he kept like, usually like we go outside, he does his business, and then we come back in, right? Routine. Well, I don't know. He just kept like kind of tripping out a little bit, and he knocks me over, and well, this time he didn't knock me over. Like, I kind of tripped over my own feet, and outside in our backyard, there's like this cement walkway that is extended from the ground by too far, if you ask me. So to make a long story short, I fell, and I knew it was bad. Like, I couldn't even fucking breathe. And I've had enough broken bones in my life to know that something was not right. And then the funny part is, when I'm laying there, before I could even like scream for help or anything, it was like one of those moments where it's like, okay, it's come to this. Like, I've fallen and I can't get up moment, right? Um, so the next thing you know, the entire house is outside, like, oh my God. And my dog's running loose, and everybody's afraid of him because, he's a bit of a shit show. And he likes to sometimes give love nips to people. So he's running around scared. I'm laying on the ground, screaming my fucking face off, crying, right? Everybody comes out. What's wrong? What's wrong? What happened? I'm like, I fell, like, walking the dog. And nobody knew what to do. And I'm like, I need an ambulance. Like, and if I'm saying that, like, you should worry, because I'm so stubborn. Even when I need to go to the hospital, most times I don't, but I knew this was like not good. And I have a bad back to begin with, but this was in a different spot this time. And like, how when you fall on your back, like, usually it's like, I've never had this happen before. I've fallen and I've knocked the wind out of myself before, but it's usually like when you hit like the middle of your back, right? For me, that's the only time I've ever like winded myself. But like, this pain was so severe, like I couldn't even like do anything. Like, I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, I couldn't do nothing, right? So then they call the ambulance. At least I can laugh now. I can laugh now because they've got me all doped up on all these fucking meds from the hospital. So I'm flying high as a motherfucker right now. But when those wear off, it's not going to be laughing. It's going to be screaming and crying. So anyways, the fucking ambulance shows up, and like, luckily I live like probably 3 minutes drive, not even, from the hospital. So they get here, and keep in mind, like, there's an audience, right? I mean, And when I'm in pain, like the exorcist in me comes out. So these fucking ambulance guys show up. They got this stretcher and they're like, well, you're gonna have to like help us get up, right? And I'm like, well, you have a stretcher, like, can't you slide this fucking thing underneath me? Hey, David, how are you? Thank you. It's gonna take a while. Um, so we get in the hospital, whatever. Make a long story short, he broke my vertebrae in my L1. So I have a bad back anyways. It's on my left side. That's from years ago from a car accident. And I've had like arthritis in my back ever since I was like 18 years old. I'm 186 now. So do the math, right? But I knew this was in a different area and I was concerned because like, the older we get, the more our body starts to fail us. Well, I mean, your back is pretty fucking vital, right? And already where my injury already existed prior to this bullshit, it's one of those spots where when like it hits or when I do something to re-injure it, like it'll cause sciatica, which is like essentially you might as well say paralysis. Like, I mean, depending on how bad I hurt it. And that only lasts for a short time, right? Until like the spasm releases and then things go back to normal. So we got to the hospital and then like I knew that they knew it was serious because like usually they'll make you wait in the hallway or you'll be there for like 8 hours. But the way that you can tell if you're in serious trouble is when they move you through everything in like a fucking New York minute, right? So yeah, so I have a broken vertebrae in my back, so that's fan-fucking-tastic. I'm so thrilled about that. So, and I'm glad that none of my neighbors decided to pull out the video camera and start recording it because it would be hilarious to watch now. But I was like even screaming at the fucking ambulance guys, like the EMTs, because like they were trying to make me move, and it's like, dude, if I could get up, don't you think I would have got up on my own to begin with? So yeah, I don't know why I'm going live. I just feel like talking, and it's like almost 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's no one to talk to here. And right now, because they're all sleeping, as they should be, as I would be, because I was supposed to return back to days this week, and that's not going to happen because I was just told that I'm going to be off for 4 to 6 weeks, and it's like, no, I'm not actually. So fuck that. You're just going to give me some very strong pain meds, and we're going to figure something out. Because like, what do you think? I'm made of money, and I could just take all this fucking time off work and not worry about getting behind. Like, I mean, the world we live in today is so expensive. Like, you miss a couple paychecks and it's a situation, right? Like, I mean, so screw you and your 4 to 6 weeks off. So I just emailed HR and was like, I just got home from the hospital. Like, I've broken my back kind of. And like, I drive a forklift, right? And obviously I'm not going to be able to do that for a while because, I mean, they've got our machines turned up to such a high level of speed that even when you're like going in and out of the trailer, it hurts your back on a good day. Now imagine with a fucking broken back. Fuck. So yeah, I don't know. If it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck, I guess, right? But at least I'm kind of laughing now. I was fucking screaming earlier. But it's kind of an eye opener when you go to like the hospital and shit. Because there was some guy like, so the way our hospital works is if you're not sick, they put you in the hall. Like where's the what do you call that word? Dignity and nothing like being in pain and being in a hallway, which I'm sure they're charging your insurance company for a fucking semi-private or a private room for. So, or they put you into what they call the fast track zone. Well, while you're in the fast track zone, you're in fucking dire trouble. So, you get to listen while you're waiting for the doctor and all this shit, right? And then you got to get the requisition, blah, blah. So you hear other people's stories. And there was one guy, and I didn't know his story at first because you can only hear part of it. And quite honestly, I was in pain and really didn't give a shit. But then once the morphine started to kick in that they gave me, I was like, oh, look at the lights and listen to this, right? Well, there was this one guy in there, and all I could hear at the beginning of the conversation was, you're going to die if you go home. And you're like, they said, you're going to die within a day. And I was like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy, right? So as I'm, listening, and then they're like, the guys started fighting with him. And they're like, well, you told us that you wanted to live. And they're like, "You don't want us to restrain you." Well, come to find out that the guy, I guess, was in there for an overdose, um, which is not unusual in this town. I don't know about your city, your state, your country, but the drug that is running rampant through our city right now on a fucking level that is insane is fentanyl. And it's, some people take it intentionally and some people take it when they think they're purchasing other drugs and people mix it in and accidentally overdose and die. Well, that's what happened to this guy. So I guess he came in and he was ODing and they were able to save him, obviously. And I heard the nurse, excuse me, saying to this guy, um, you're lucky you got here when you did because, like, if it was even 2 minutes later, like, we wouldn't have been able to revive you. Now, I don't know why everybody at this point is not starting to carry around like Narcan with them because that's how bad it is. Like, and there's they and they have to make everything political even when it's not. So like you talk to cops or doctors and they're like, well, there's no places to send them for help. There's they always blame it on the government. The government closed all of these like rehab centers and mental health facilities and stuff like that. So even if you are like genuinely trying to help yourself, it's like a 3 month or more wait just to get into a facility to get help. Well, some people, like when you're hooked on drugs like those, I don't really know too much about fentanyl, and I just know that it's very serious, and a very small amount, even a point more than what you should take, can instantly kill you. And why anybody would want to take that is beyond me. But from what I've been told by other people, uh, is that a lot of people take it because they either have the desire to no longer live, or um, have just kind of given up on themselves, and it's like that's so sad. But it's an eye opener when you hear that shit and when you're that close to it. In fact, one of the guys that used to live here, he got kicked out a couple, like about probably 3 or 4 months ago, because he had traffic coming here all the time and everybody knew what was going on. And we're like, either he leaves or we're all moving out because, like, fuck that. Like, that's not the kind of neighbor I want to have. And I certainly don't want to be here when the cops come in and bust the doors in, right? Because I have nothing to do with this shit. So they kicked him out, and he had been coming around lately, and I'm like, oh dear God, please don't tell me they're just gonna fucking let him move back in. Well, I guess he died. He had an overdose, apparently just down the street, from what I'm told. He was visiting with, I don't know if it was his girlfriend or his friend, and I guess like, I don't really know a lot about fentanyl, just that it's very dangerous and it kills a lot of people. But I guess you take it, or when he takes it, you kind of nod out. I'm assuming it's kind of like a heroin, but it's extremely more potent. So he nods out, and he's overdosed many times. But I guess his girlfriend thought it was just like any other time, and that he was like nodding out, and it turned out that he actually died. So I mean, you know, that's your future. So if you are one of those people that are struggling with trying to get off of it and say, well, I can't just stop taking this because I'm going to get dope sick, would you rather be dope sick or would you rather be fucking dead? Like, I mean, and think about your family and think about, so then, he had, like I said, he had moved out. He got kicked out a couple months ago, and I don't know where he moved into, but on paper, he didn't change his address. So when whoever found him, to come and notify next of kin, the police showed up here because he hadn't changed his address on paper. And then I guess the next thing you know, how this guy had 3 kids with 3 different baby mamas is beyond me, because he was like 400 pounds and it's not just the look. Like, I mean, it's not just, being 400 pounds, but he also had like one eye that was like, I don't know, like you couldn't tell which one where he was looking. You know what I mean? It's horrible. I make fun of people, but hey, we all do. I mean, it is what it is. But the sad thing is he was young. I don't even know if he was even 30 years old, but now he's left behind a few kids, and so I guess they all showed up here because, again, like I said, on paper, he didn't tell anybody he moves because when you're doing illegal, shady shit, you don't want to be found very easily, if you know what I'm saying. And so I guess they showed up here because they all thought he still lived here. And my buddy Ryan, that I talk about all the time, who's my landlord slash friend, I guess he is the one that, answered the door and had to talk. I guess all the three baby mamas showed up at the same time to find out what happened because they thought that it happened here. And he's like, no, he hasn't lived here for like 5 months at least, maybe even longer. And we didn't know what happened. Like he had stopped by, like I think it was like 2 days before this happened. And we didn't even, like nobody, oh fuck, sorry. When I move, it hurts my back. We didn't even know, right? So that's how we all found out that he died, was because the baby mama showed up, right? So it's sad for the families, because you think you're fooling people. You're not fooling people. You can tell just by looking at somebody if they're in a bad way or not. And I'm no one to judge anybody for that. Like I understand addiction is considered a disease, and I'm sure the way I look at that is like the first time you take it is a choice. And then beyond that, like there's just certain drugs that you just supposedly can't stop cold turkey, from what I'm told. But I have the opinion that, and I've always had the opinion that I know myself well enough to not play with fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't touch the drugs you know are going to fucking kill you. Do not touch the drugs that, if they touch your skin, are going to kill you. If not for you, think about your kids, you selfish prick. Because now what? Now those baby mamas are going to have to go home and tell their kids that dad's dead, and why. Like, and maybe I don't know how old they would be. I'm assuming that they're young children because he's not very old himself. And I wouldn't even begin to know about how to handle a situation like that, telling a small child that not only is your father dead, but like, I mean, it was an overdose. I'm sure if you were a good parent, you would probably try to shelter them from that information for as long as possible, at least until they're old enough to understand. Like I'm not a parent. I don't even know, but from what I would think, I'm pretty protective of my loved ones and my friends and my family. And I try to shelter them from information that they don't need to know. But, I think there's a lot of things that play into addiction issues. I think environmental is one. I do think there is a genetic component to that as well. I think how you were raised in the environment that you were raised plays a lot to do with that. And also like, trauma and different things. Like there's a lot that could contribute to somebody doing that. But I don't know. My suggestion is don't touch this shit that's gonna kill you. Like stick to the friggin' weed. Like, I mean, what is wrong with that? Like, why do you need to play with fire? Why do you need to risk your life to get a buzz? Like, is it great waking up because you're overdosing and you've got paramedics standing around you? And like I heard this one guy saying like, oh, the paramedics were about to give up on me because he was like clinically dead for 8 minutes and they were just about to stop working on him, and then all of a sudden he opened his eyes. And you think that that would be an eye-opener for somebody, but nope, didn't change a thing, didn't stop him, didn't slow him down. Like I don't understand it. Like, I mean, make it make sense. And I don't know. I feel sorry for people like that. Obviously they've lost their way in life. Obviously they've kind of given up on themselves in one way, shape, or form. But at some point you need to think about other people than just yourself. And especially if you have kids, it's no longer about you anymore. It's about your kids. And what kind of example are you setting for them by being a friggin' drug addict, junkie loser that overdoses so often that it ain't no big thing? Well, I just don't understand people, man. Like sometimes I just want to smack the sense into them. I just don't get it. Like, I mean, what is wrong with weed? Just smoke your weed, calm your shit, and have a couple of drinks, whatever you got to do. But don't touch the shit that's going to kill you. Like, don't be an idiot. But the amount of people that you see on a daily basis, um, it's really sad. And there is no rehab facilities. There is no like mental health facilities. Like, I mean, a lot of times it isn't just one thing; it's multiple things that contribute to that. And there's no excuse to me in my mind other than the powers that be maybe see a certain demographic as expendable. I don't know how anybody could look at humanity that way. Um, I care about people. I genuinely do. Like, I mean, that's why I've been bitching so long about all the things that I've been seeing in this world, because I've been slowly over the last few years see people giving up on themselves and slowly dying. Um, I had to have a very difficult conversation with one of my best friends that I've known since I was in my early 20s. And we reconnected not long ago. And she's a very different person now. And it took me a while to notice and see the changes in her. And then, when I seen what was going on with her, I kind of backed off a little bit, right? As anybody would, right? Because like I've lost so many friends that I don't want to hear of another situation where somebody's died. So she contacted me and I went to see her like last week, and she's like, "Why haven't you been around? What's going on? Are you mad at me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not mad at you at all. I'm actually very concerned about you and I'm very worried about you." And I'm like, "I'm going to tell you something that's probably going to hurt your feelings, but I wouldn't be doing you any justice, or I wouldn't be, a best friend if I didn't say this, because everybody's thinking it. And I bet you people won't tell you the truth like I will. I love you, and I'm watching you slowly die." She's down to like 100 pounds. She looks not well. um I'm not going to go into too many details, that's her personal business, but she's doing things that I definitely don't agree with. And when I seen her do one thing in front of me, I was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, I mean, and it's just like, I don't know how to help people save them from themselves, because sometimes that's what people need. And it's very sad when it gets to a point that you have to turn your back on people. And I said, and when I'm having this very hard, difficult conversation with her, I was like, "Listen, dude, I fucking love you like a sister. And this is breaking my fucking heart. But like since June 26th, I've had 9 people die. And I know in my heart that you're going to be the next one, and I can't fucking handle that shit." And I said, and I know that a lot of people are thinking exactly what I'm saying, and a lot of people probably won't say this to you, but they'll just turn their back on you. And I'm like, if you want help and you want someone to get through this with you, and you genuinely are going to do the work that it's going to take to make changes, which means people, places, and things, and get yourself out of the environment where people will not let you change. If you're willing to really honestly do the work, then I will be here with you every step of the way. But if you just keep doing exactly what you're doing, then like I'm going to have to love you from afar, because my heart cannot take any more loss. Like, I mean, um, and it's sad when you have to say that to somebody that you consider a sister and a best friend. It's really hard. It's heartbreaking. And I know there's not a lot of people up at this time, but if you watch it on the replay, or if you know somebody that's struggling and you see it happening and you see the changes in them, don't be that person that just walks away. Before you walk away, you tell them that why. You tell them that you see what's happening to them. You tell them that you love them. You tell them that, like, if you want help, I will help you. Help yourself. But if I'm going to fight for you more than you're fighting for yourself, then we're done. Like, I can't do this. And I think that's fair. And that's a hard thing to do. I've had to do it with a couple people that have meant the world to me. Sometimes it works out as a happy ending, and other times it doesn't. And it's sad. It's really fucking sad, man. And I don't know how this problem has gotten so out of control. And I don't know what it's going to take to stop it. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. The way that I look at it is people are using this as a means to self-medicate themselves from the pain that they're feeling in life or from whatever. And that's, you're self-medicating. Like you're covering up a gaping wound with fucking band-aids and bubble gum. You're not treating the root cause. And that's sad, man. Like, it makes me want to be able to save everybody, but you have to realize at some point that you can't. And that's hard. I've buried too many people that I've loved, um, because They didn't think that they were worth the effort to stop or to change or to fix themselves. And that's sad to me. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't mean to come out here and be a Debbie Downer. I'm just talking, as I do. It started off with what I witnessed in the hospital, and it just got me thinking, like, it's sad. And I wish, like, it wasn't like that. Like, I wish this world kind of set you up to succeed and thrive, not fail and die, you know? Sorry, I had to light a smoke. Um, I don't know. I wish I had the answers. I wish I knew how to help people. I mean, to me, like what I see them doing is just replacing one drug with another, right? So like, their answer is go on methadone or Suboxone, and it's like, well, you do realize that you're only switching the substance, right? You're not actually treating it. Like, you're getting them off of opiates or whatever the key. I don't even know what fentanyl is considered. Maybe it's an opiate. I have no idea. I consider it a freaking death sentence. But they put them on these pain management programs that get them high as fuck. And if they don't abuse that, they're selling it or trading it for drugs. And I don't see a win. And when places like Vancouver are driving around in a freaking van handing out drugs to people, you're helping them end their life sooner. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be able to live with that on a moral level. Like I personally wouldn't, but some people have no problem with it, it seems. Huh, some people have no soul, no conscience, no heart. I don't know. I maybe I envy people like that because I have too much of one, you know? I don't know. That's just my opinion from an outsider looking in, you know? From somebody that has watched people struggle with one thing or another, and sometimes it's not even drugs, sometimes it's alcohol, and that's not even discussed enough because alcohol is legal and everybody thinks, oh well, no big deal. Well, so are painkillers. And where do those originate from? A doctor originally, right? And most likely 9 times out of 10 it's for a valid medical condition. But then all of a sudden people who have an addictive personality are going to misuse that, and then the doctor cuts them off, and then the next thing you know, they're going out to these shady fucking characters on the street and buying shit that's been stomped all over, and your life is literally in these people's hands. I wish I knew the magic words to say to somebody to make them hear me and make them change. And if you don't do it for you, do it for your kids, do it for your family. Like, I mean, there is a way out. If you want a way out, there is one. But you need to fucking stop digging yourself in deeper. You need to admit that, maybe the people you're surrounding yourself with aren't the right people for you. And sometimes you have to make hard decisions. But when you rather it be you than it be your family, I don't know. This is just me thinking out loud. So yeah, I fell. I couldn't get up. And that's my 2 cents for the day. So sorry it's so late. I know there's nobody watching. I just needed to come out and I guess get that off my chest because I see too much of that. And then I see the devastation it leaves behind, you know? And it's not fair because people think that nobody notices that you have a drug problem. Fucking right, they do. And you're not the only one that suffers with it. Your family suffers with it. Your friends suffer with it. If you have a job, I'm sure your attendance is not great. Your employer suffers with it. Like, you're not the only one, and you're dragging people down with you, which isn't fair. So, I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna cut this off because I just said what I needed to say. Um, I just wish things didn't have to be so shitty sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I wish we could like go back to the future and go back in time to a time when it was much simpler. And I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna end this. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching and listening. As always, peace out, guys.